So this is 1.5 inch long self-tapping screws on an S-6. We have a supply hopper baffle installed to mitigate the weight coming onto the feed pan. There's a small supply hopper gate here. We are also using the dribble gate with the divider. We have a standard size weigh hopper, and then we've got a 3.5 inch chute here for the smaller stuff. Some complications that we run into with screws is that they really like to hold on to each other. So they cause a very large, what we call a nesting issue. They group together and they hold on, and they tend to travel in a pack at that point instead of thinning out and being able to get them in a form. Unfortunately, it is not the case that our machine counts items, so that is going to be an issue for you as well, unfortunately. I have set the machine to 2.6 pounds for this visual. And without further ado, I'll give you kind of a visual of what they look like in the machine here. So what you can notice out of that run is we had a lot of, like I said, nesting. So there's a lot of items that stick together. You can see this clump here. This is actually hanging off the feed pan by almost 1.5 inches. And those screws are all just hugged together in that fashion. One thing you can see as well is up under the supply hopper, the area has thinned now. Due to the weight of the screws, that baffle needed to be in the supply hopper. But what happens is since the screws do not like to go anywhere really by themselves, they end up jamming in that area. But there's no way to mitigate that really, unfortunately. I'm going to show you one more run, but this is a product that I don't recommend being ran through our machines. Like I said about the nesting, they group together and they don't really like to move. You'll notice that the machine is having difficulty moving the screws through this portion, and therefore the actual cycle can't even complete itself at this moment. The other thing that we can see is that the supply hopper, no more screws are actually coming out of the supply hopper to the feed pan any longer. Again, that's an issue that will continue pretty much no matter what we do. And if we remove the baffle completely after a few boxes of screws were added, the weight would be far too much for the vibrating feed pan to compensate for.